the world of the robotics and a little bit in the construction industry and the different careers that are out there. So thanks for being here, Erroin.
Christian, it's a pleasure.
Yeah. So what do you do for a living?
I am the VP of sales at a robotics company based out of Mountain View, California.
Nice. And I imagine your interactions every day is with, you're in the construction industry, so you are on the job site or more so selling to the guys that are on the job site at all times.
Yeah, so my team, we're either on job sites doing demonstrations of the robots to the trades or to the general contractors, but also we do a lot of work over Zoom and stuff like that as well too. Yeah.
So tell, for those who are watching and are interested in sales, primarily in the construction industry, I'd like to focus on that. Give me kind of a day in the life of doing a position, not so much the VP of sales, but maybe someone who is just doing sales and wants to get in entry level and start a career in sales in the construction industry. The pros and cons, the outcomes, whether it's financial results that you're going to get, lifestyle that you're going to have, quality work you're going to give, but also, the grind as well. I like giving a good idea of what people would be signing up for, essentially.
You're signing up for controlled chaos is the best way to sort of think about it, right? So if you're going to be selling in the construction space, you'll be going on to construction job sites, and they're loud, they're chaotic, they're dirty, they're dangerous, depending on what they're building, where you're going into. And you're dealing with individuals who speak very bluntly. They don't have time to waste, and so they will tell you exactly how they feel. It's actually one reason why I love the industry a lot. They'll tell you straight up if they love you or if they hate you. Good news is they like to meet a lot in person. They like to build a lot of relationships. So you've got to break past that gruff exterior, and then once you are in, they're pretty loyal and they're pretty good partners. And that's what they're looking for in construction is partners. Not looking to be sold to, but someone's going to partner with them in their business.
Of course.
Yeah. So my team's deployed remotely. They're in the geographical locations of the areas that they serve. And if they're not doing video meetings with our customers, they're phone calling. A great thing about construction is a lot of people pick up the phone and talk to you, or they're going to job sites to either do demos, to help do with implementations, to help do the customer where to apply the robot correctly on that particular job site. Yeah.
Okay. Now, tell me more on what is the biggest challenge of the job?
The biggest challenge is construction is a very tightly constrained business. What I mean by that is not just the rules and regulations that go around it, but also for your customer, they really have to watch every dollar or every dime because their margins are very, very low. And so you have to be there to teach them how to use your service to make money from that service, not just to save money or add another layer of cost to it. And that can be really hard because you're trying to have that conversation, and they also have a bunch of deadlines they need to hit. They're in a lot of intense pressure. There's a lot of stress in construction. And so you have to kind of cut through that noise to let them know that what you want to provide to them is going to make them money. That's the first thing you have to overcome. The second is in construction, people think construction doesn't adopt technology. It's actually not true. They use technology every day. What they don't do is they just don't run into the latest, greatest thing, right? So AI is the biggest boom. Everyone's got a Chat GPT version or Claude or Grok or whatever. There's something that could be applied to construction, but they're not going to run to it right away because going back to what I initially said, these are chaotic environments that do have life and death consequences. And if you don't get it right, the building could have a disastrous outcome, or more worst case scenario is it's just not built correctly. And so then everyone's suing each other. So they want to do tried and true, methods and means. And so you've got to sort of work through that. So there's a lot of show me, don't tell me is their biggest sort of.
And then what's the best part about the job? And it could even be financially, even I like talking a little bit about, what's the potential of it as well.
Well, let me talk. So the cool part about the job is you could be driving down the highway of a city you live in or wherever, and you were on that job site when they were building that building. So Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas, where the Raiders play, we were on that stadium. A bunch of other buildings up and down the Bay Area. We've been on those buildings. Stuff in New York City and stuff like that. That part is really, really cool, and that has a lasting pride. I think the financial reward is a short-term gain, and you can make a lot of money in sales and construction. And there's a lot of different ways of doing it. My top seller, his first year, he cleared, over $1 million in commissions. So he did really, really well.
Really?
Yeah.
That's big money.
That's big money to the point where he's spending it all to renovate his house.
And what's your average seller?
I mean, our average seller, without giving away too much, they're in the mid to high six figures. Yeah.
That's fantastic.
When you look at their OT,
Which is still a relatively great lifestyle.
it's still a relatively great lifestyle. Yeah, correct.
I love that.
Yeah, depending where you live, it could be even bigger.
Yeah, absolutely. No, that is fantastic. And now let's talk about Dusty Robotics. Tell us more about the company and the types of people that you like to employ in the company, the culture that's there. Why don't we talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, so Dusty was founded back in 2018 by the two founders, Tessa and Phil. As the story goes, Tessa was remodeling her house and realized that things were in the right position. And when she asked them why they weren't in the right position, they were talking about these chalk lines that are there. And she's like, "My Lord, this is very inefficient. It's very dirty. There's got to be a better way of doing it." And her co-founder, Phil, is an engineer who likes to solve problems where there's inefficiencies. So that's how they kind of came up with the idea of Dusty Robotics. Been, working in 2020, actually in the field, full sales production in 2022. And what we're doing is we're taking the digital file that architects and the trades all work on, and we're bringing it to the physical field, and we're basically communicating more information that allows for stronger collaboration, greater quality in the projects, more predictability, and most importantly, speed. We're faster than a human crew by 10x.
Okay. And what would you say is, because I'm looking at the types of careers that you have there. You've got engineering, you've got sales, operations, business development. Like what is, leadership roles or entry level roles? Maybe tell us a little bit about the types of qualifications that would catch your attention in the company. I know there's different departments. I'm sure you got a marketing department, accounting as well, right? But maybe highlight some of those.
So high level, what we're looking for is someone who wants to work in a fast paced startup, and we are a startup. We're venture backed, so there's risk, but a lot of reward that comes with that. Also, we're looking for individuals who they don't have to actually have a construction background, but it helps that they've had someone in their family or they've done some sort of blue collar job. Typically for me in sales, I look for individuals who have a strong chip on their shoulder. They've got something to prove. They have a blue collar work ethic no matter where they've sort of worked. And that's really important to the job. And then it's also, we're in the mission of helping our customers build a better physical world and do so in a way that is more liberating and has more, I would say, legs for a career for these individuals who want to be in construction by making it a better, wealthier place for them to be. And so you have to have that sort of mission driven sense. And so what's really interesting is a lot of the engineers who've been here, they've been here for a very long period of time. They really believe in the mission of not just building the software, but the hardware behind the robots. And we've been hiring now individuals of that same sort of caliber that have a curiosity, they have a strong work ethic, high standards, but also have humility, because you have to, because construction is going to humble you a lot.
Of course. Oh yeah, I'm sure it will. So then on that note, what would be one piece of career advice you give someone, not necessarily in construction sales, just in general, one piece of career advice that you'd like to live by?
Yeah, always be learning, have a growth mindset. I think people say that, but really what I mean by learning is not just reading but also training yourself, like practicing constantly. One of the things we do here on my sales team is I train the team a lot, because if I'm not training with me, then you're training on the customer, and the customer's never going to give you the feedback that you want. I think there's a high sense of people want to be professionals. And I would say in sales, they always sort of gear towards like pro sports as like a sort of analogy. And what I always find very funny is like a lot of sellers like, "Well, you want me out there selling?" I'm like, yeah, after you've been training, after you've been practicing, after you've been going through the repetitions and so forth. And if you want to, Michael Jordan just didn't show up and start playing, same with anybody else as well too, right? They practice over a long period of time, and they still continue to practice, because that's part of what makes that part of the game, that initial kinetic contact, so special. And I think in a career, find ways where you can do that, where you can constantly practice. So if you're going to do sales, it's have conversations with people in the line of the coffee shop. Like, do things that are kind of unnaturally uncomfortable for you, because you're going to have those conversations in a business setting, and then just get any opportunity you can to present. Always try to present in front of people, because that's the strength that's going to really carry you to be in those boardrooms, to have those long negotiations, etc. That will really help you in the end. So growth mindset is the big
That is fantastic, Erroin. Guys, if you like content like this and learn about different careers like Erroin's and the amazing things that's happening at Dusty Robotics, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. And all the information, we're going to put the information for Dusty Robotics, maybe a careers page there for people to check it out as well. So thank you for being here, and thank you guys for watching.
Hey, thanks for watching our content. Listen, if you're running a business and you're struggling to find staff, I want to introduce myself. My name is Christian Saab. I own CPG Recruitment, and I help companies across North America find the people that they need to find. Listen, a great business cannot be built unless you've got great people. You and I both understand that having the right people on your team is so important, and that's where I could come in and help you. So listen, I want you to shoot me a text message. Here's my direct cell phone. Have my number. Reach out to me. I'd love to hear your story and get to know what you're trying to accomplish, and that way maybe I can help you fix this problem.